I've got the nose cone off the transmission. It is filthy. So I need to clean it up and just kind of service it a little bit. And by that, I mean shoot a ton of brake cleaner into it and then hit it with a wire brush. Is that the smartest thing to do? I have no idea. Beats me. Am I going to look it up? Nope. I think we're just going to go for it. I don't believe that fluid goes in here or like that I need to grease it up. Maybe a little. But I have a new gasket for it and I kind of just want to get it on. Because I also have to clean the other part of the transmission that attaches to this. So I'm going to grab my rags, wire brushes, and some brake cleaner. I should have put a rag down. Whoops. This thing was sitting in a field in southern Nevada, about an hour and a half outside of Las Vegas. It's owned by a couple of kids that bought it from another guy, and it was in a fire, like an electrical fire, but only in the engine. And so there's no structural damage, a couple like rough spots and whatnot, but nothing that was like serious. And I had my own engine that I was going to put in anyways, and the transmission was fine. But it sat in a field for years. I have no idea how long. So stuff like this is expected. I'm not really surprised that, like this gasket is falling apart. It's a paper one, which is fine. But if I want this thing on the road, I need it to be a little bit better. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm not building a show car, and at least here I get to sit in a chair at my workbench and clean it. That one I'm gonna have to be on my stomach or hunched over, so that I figured I'd save for a little later in the day. The only bummer of this garage is I don't have great lighting. All the lighting is that way, and that's where I have all my like storage shelves and random stuff. So maybe poor planning on my part, but it's good enough for now. I'm just making it work. It's actually cleaning up a lot easier than I thought. Oh, that is a little bit of damage right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right here. So, hopefully that's not bad enough to make it not serviceable. If it is, I'm gonna learn the hard way. Granted, I can find one of these new for like 50 or 60 bucks. However, I don't want to pay that if I don't have to on something like this, if I think I can make it work. When it comes to like things like brakes and stuff, then, oh, that chunk is broken too. I don't know if you can see it. That's supposed to be a circle. And it's not a circle. So, I think that's not good. But like I said, oh, that's another chip. Dang, what happened to this thing? All right, I think I'm done cleaning it. It's one of those things where I don't know how perfect it needs to be. I mean, clearly this thing's already pretty mangled. Yeah, I have to clean the transmission part. And then once I do that, if I can get the gasket on and then bolt it up, attached to the drive shaft, if I can shift at all, or it feels like it's decently healthy, then I'll go for it. If not, then I'll order a new one and then I'll reservice it and do some more research. But I think it's good enough for now. We're gonna give it a shot. Here's what it looks like. It's a lot cleaner, at least, but see, that's the damaged part right there. And then that one's a little damaged as well, but not too bad. That's just going to the transmission mount. And then the little, what they call the hockey stick, goes in there. So, which is this thing, which I'll wipe off and all that stuff, but. So now we'll do the transmission. Oh well. see if that works. Now, I already test fit the gasket, and I had to get new nuts for these bolts because the ones I got off of the popular website, I don't know if I'm allowed to name them or not. Let's see. They didn't fit, so I got some new ones. This is probably one of the more embarrassing parts about me is I suck at this kind of stuff. My brain does not compute how these things fit. Okay, now what I read was that the tricky part is dealing with what they call a hockey stick. So, I should probably figure out how it goes on first. There we go. Okay, so that means it should be in neutral, I think. So what did I do here? Okay, I'm gonna have to step over here. That is just tearing up my transmission mounts. Anyways, not the end of the world. I already have new ones anyways. This is just harder to put on. Okay. Now, I will be pulling it out anyways to get it through here. Actually, maybe I can do that. If I didn't have to hold this down, it'd be a little bit easier. Oh, that's all sharp metal. Oh, man. Man, it's so cold out. My hands just don't have the dexterity for this right now. I think typically people pull the transmission to do this. I'm trying not to do that because I'm by myself right now. I mean, I might even end up pulling it in a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know. So I probably should because there's other things I need to do, but as of right now, we're just rolling with it. Because I need to do the front transmission mount, both left and right, and then the brackets I need to mount here. So, I don't know. It'll be more work than I was thinking I was going to need to do with the body off, but it's all right. You know what I also should do is I need to start setting up the exhaust before I put the body on too and make it easier with it while it's up like this for the sake of running a turbo kit that I bought off Facebook. Is it going to work? I have no idea. Do I know how to do it? I do not. Did I put all of it in my truck bed and then accidentally left my tailgate open and then drive like 20 miles and then I lost one of the two turbos that the guy gave me and like the wastegate and stuff? I did do that. So I don't even know what parts I'm missing. I don't know what parts I need. I just about pulled a hamstring. All right, I think it's good enough. I'm gonna try and replace the right and left transmission mounts, and it has a center brace as well, which I'll probably reuse because it's just a piece of metal. I need to take that off first so I can get to them, and then I'm gonna have to try and prop up the engine with the transmission enough so I have some 2x4s that I cut up over there to put on the jack that I'm sitting on to lift it up, hopefully high enough so I can do it. I also probably need to take off the CV axles and keep them off so I can get to the swing arm easier, so I can weld on the airbag mounts, just so I have more room to move around and stuff like that. So we're gonna give that a shot. Oh my gosh. Okay. Call me dumb. I didn't even think about an adapter. It was just so not embarrassing at all. So, because now I have a breaker bar. So. It's a lot easier with this leverage. All right, let's see if we can use the impact now. Still no. It's incredible. There we go. For the CV axles, it's really just like an Allen key or an Allen wrench, however you want to use it. But I picked these up, which obviously have it like in a socket, because way easier. So I might need, honestly, probably the shorter extension instead of the 6-inch one that I grabbed. But this is the one that's like shaved down around the edges right here. So it's like what they call like the wobble joint or whatever. So it makes it a little easier to fit in when you have something like this. Because you can't really get like a straight shot. So let's see, try and get these out if I can. And I'm only gonna pull them out on the side of the actual wheel because it's the main thing blocking me from getting to the swing arm to weld on the rear airbag mounts. So I'd rather have them attached to the transmission still, and then I could pull that out as a whole. There we go. Now what I should do, I might be able to reach all of them without lifting the wheel up. But typically you could just spin it and it makes it a lot easier. But here I like to do things the hard way because it is, I'm stubborn, I don't know, it's lazy, you name it. It's working. If you can't tell by my heavy breathing. Also, it's like 30 degrees today. And there's zero insulation in this garage. Like that's the side this way, all plywood. That way, all plywood. This, it's drywall. There's no insulation there though. And I'm from Southern California, so I'm not used to like anything outside of like 65 to 80 degrees. So I'm handling it about as well as you would expect. And by that I mean I'm just gonna keep complaining about it until the weather changes. So. All right, got that one undone. This one undone, it just didn't pull off yet. So, but I have the transmission mount through there that you can see that I need to replace, and the same one on the other side. This exhaust was the one on my dad's Carmen Ghia that he picked up that he's rebuilding. And that's the engine that I have here, except there's a dual port. The 1914 I took out of my Blue Beetle to put the 2180 in there was a single port. So he took the dual port to put that 1914 in the Carmen Ghia. We don't know what this is. It could be like a 2030 or a 1914. It could be a 2180 as well, 2130. We just don't know. Not a 2130. It would be a 2332. But I took the single carb setup on here, and I have the air filter. I just had to take it off to deal with this. It's right there. But that was the exhaust that was on this engine that I'm currently working on. However, I picked up a turbo kit off a guy off Facebook that had this on his Baja Bug. I don't know if it's going to fit, but it has the manifold that I need for the wastegate right there. And so I'm going to try and mount that up to this and get whatever pipes I need and gaskets and whatnot to see if I can set that up. So that'll be the plan for that. And then I want to handle, so these are the mounts that, and excuse my welding, I'm not a good welder, so I just weld a lot in hopes that it holds. I'm going to cut those off, and then I probably need to weld the mounts like back here, and I want to see if I can get away with leaving this and like putting the top over here so it never touches the brake lines, because I already welded this tab in, and I redid this one and that side. I did all the brake lines on this, but if I can leave that together, that would be kind of nice, instead of having to redo that and put it on the front side. If I need to change it, I can. It's no big deal. And then the front mount, transmission mount, is right there under that dolly. And I have a new one of those on my workbench, so we'll be dealing with that. But that's the plan. And then I need to figure out the wiring for the starter and all that stuff and get that situated. And also, some of these bolts are really loose, so I'm going to deal with those on here, because it, that shouldn't be like that. And then I'm going to deal with the clutch cable, the accelerator cable, and whatnot, because obviously the clutch cable is doing its own thing, and then the accelerator cable is not going through the fan shroud like it should right there. So we'll deal with that accordingly. The right and left transmission mounts I need to take out because they're old and rubbery. They're super old. I have new ones as well, which I have right here. Now these ones are brand new. So obviously it says R. I don't know if you can see that right here on this one. This one doesn't have O. And that one says L. So I'm gonna pull the engine all the way off. And this is they call a center transmission mount or a transmission brace. And I honestly, on my Blue Beetle, my Super Beetle with the 2180, I don't even think I have one of these. I ordered one and it didn't fit at all. I don't know, it could have been for a completely different vehicle. I thought it was for the one that would fit, well, not at all. It's decently sturdy. I don't think it does that much, but before I put it back, there's so much dirt caked on here, and it's that kind of orange dirt that you get in southern Nevada. I was living in southern Utah at the time, not too far from Zion, so I'm a little too familiar with this red dirt. And no, I'm not a Mormon. My parents live in southern Utah now. That's where they decided to retire. They're not Mormon either. Yeah, we're going to eventually put this back on, but I got to clean this up a little bit because it's a little too much dirt. Right and left transmission mounts are already unbolted. They connected through this thing. So on the lift I have them on, I don't have wheels or anything on it, and I'm concerned that it's gonna drop down in the front because it's front heavy because of the transmission. So we're just gonna give this a shot and see what happens. So stay tuned, I guess. Okay. Honestly, could have gone way worse. There we go. The right CV axle was not coming undone, so I was pulling it this way. Thing's a little banged up, as you can see, but it might be good enough. Some of the wheels roll, not all of them, but if I can get the transmission to fall down on that, then I can scoot this back, the engine transmission back, so the weight is more centric. So, hey, honestly, this is going better than I thought, which I might jinx myself. So, see if I can shimmy it. I just need to keep pulling it back. It's just heavy and it's tipping forward pretty bad, so I'm doing everything I can to pull it back, while also sliding it back on something that is not meant to slide because it's a jack. So I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, guess I can scoot the engine back, which I should have thought of. I can't believe that worked. How is that even staying balanced? I have no idea. This is the most horribly balanced thing. This is just an awful game of Jenga. Oh. Oh, man. Shouldn't have done that. All right. Okay. That's all right. I should probably lower this. Yeah, we're just gonna do that. Plan is to lower this and try and pull the weight back onto the right. There we go. Oh, it's just coming with it. It's like I need to tilt it up or something. Aha, there we go. Maybe? Why is it tilted on? Oh. Okay, not the end of the world. That's fine for now. You know, I'm not a mechanic. I just kind of do things in hopes to figure them out on the backside. So this is now later me's problem. Oh, I forgot you gotta take the transmission off the engine to put these on, because both of these go through the casing. So that sucks. Problem for another time. Oh man. All right, well, I guess that'll be probably it for today and this weekend. I'm kind of at a standstill with what I can do by myself with just two hands, and there's just some parts I need. So I need to order them online because you just can't really get them from a store. Like I need new J-tubes or whatever these things are called. I think they're called J-tubes, but because the ones that go to the exhaust for the exhaust I have up on the wall for the turbo, I need a different mount than what these have. So I need to order new ones for that. And then, I need to take the transmission. I need to unmount the transmission from the engine because I need to redo these, the transmission mounts, and I just need an extra set of hands. I just am physically pretty broken, so I just can't quite do some of this stuff on my own. So I got to wait for my buddy to get back into town. So that'll probably happen next weekend. So stay tuned unless I add that to this video, but I have no idea what I'm doing. So, yeah, and I need to figure out some of the wiring things that I need to set up for the starter. So this next week is going to be full of research and buying parts and trying to source things that I need. And then hopefully next weekend we can hit the ground running with some of the things. I'm sure some of the parts won't come in time, but I'm going to do what I can to make sure we can make some progress next weekend as well. And yeah, so thanks for watching, I guess. I don't know. And if you didn't, fair enough. All right, I'll catch you later.